Have you ever wondered how much cash you'd need to start building your own buy-to-let Airbnb empire? Well, guess what? You're in the right place. I'm here to break it all down for you in this eye-opening YouTube video. Now, let's be real. We all know the allure of having your very own slice of the Airbnb pie. Who wouldn't want to rake in those rental bucks? Well, who wouldn't want to rake in that rental money while sipping cocktails on a tropical beach, right? But before you start imagining yourself as the next property tycoon, let's talk numbers. Just how much money do you need to make for your Airbnb dreams to come true? But before I go deeply into them, make sure you smash that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any more of my videos. I mean, it's beautiful to imagine yourself having a cozy cabin nestled in the mountains, chic city lofts, charming beachfront cottages. The possibilities are endless. But trust me, it's not just about snapping up any old property and listing it online. There's a method to this madness, and it all starts with your bank account. So, my friends, if you're ready to uncover the secrets of budgeting for your very own Airbnb investment journey, stick around. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the essential costs from property acquisitions to those unexpected expenses that can sneak up on you faster than you can say vacation rental. Together, we'll crunch the numbers, break down the math, and maybe even share a few insider tips along the way. So grab your notepad, a cup of your favorite brew, and let's dive in. How to determine the money you need to build your own Airbnb portfolio. First up is the property acquisition side. So let's start with the big issue, the down payment. You know, that chunk of change that you hand over to secure the property. On average, we're looking at around 20 to 30% of the property's value as your down payment. Of course, this can vary based on location and property type. Major cities might demand a bit more, while you could snag a sweeter deal in more serene surroundings. Keep in mind though, if you're eyeing up multiple properties, those down payments can add up faster than you can say cash flow. Now, legal fees and closing costs. The less glamorous part of the process, these costs can range from 1 to 5% of the property's value, covering everything from legal fees to those pesky paperwork charges. Yep, those lawyers and paperwork wizards want their cut too. And speaking of cut, don't forget to budget for renovations and repairs. Fact is, you want your Airbnb to stand out in the crowd. Investing in upgrades, whether it's a fresh coat of paint or modern amenities, can pay off big time in guest satisfaction and higher booking rates. Now, let's not leave out property taxes. These can vary greatly depending on where your properties are located. On average, you might be looking at around 1 to 2% of the property's value annually. Remember, those tax bills don't have a sense of humour. It could be more, so be ready to pay up. But don't let these numbers scare you away. Remember, real estate is a long game. These upfront costs might seem hefty, but they are the golden ticket to building that Airbnb empire. Crunch those numbers, plan wisely, and don't forget to leave some room for unexpected expenses. Trust me, future you will thank you for it. Next up is the furnishing and the decor. When we talk about it for your Airbnb properties, we're talking about giving your spaces that cozy, welcoming vibe that travelers crave. Remember, your goal is to create an experience that not only meets but exceeds your guests' expectations. After all, happy guests often mean glowing reviews and repeat bookings. First things first, budget-wise, keep in mind that furnishing and decorating multiple properties can add up, so it's wise to have a decent chunk of change set aside. On average, you might be looking at around $5,000 to $10,000 per property for furnishing and decor. Of course, this can vary depending on the size of the property and your personal tastes. Hey, quality pieces can be a bit of an investment, but think of it as setting the stage for your Airbnb success story. So what exactly does the budget cover? Well, you'll want to start with the basics: comfy beds, stylish furniture, and functional appliances. Don't forget about the essentials in the kitchen and the bathroom too. Trust me, a well-stocked kitchen can go a long way in making your guests feel right at home. And speaking of homey vibes, consider adding thoughtful touches like local artwork, cozy blankets, and maybe even some indoor plants to breathe life into your space. Now here's where the magic happens, the decor of the property. This is your chance to add your personal touch and set your properties apart. Think about the theme or style you want to go for. Modern chic, rustic charm, urban oasis, the options are endless. Remember, a cohesive design can make your property stand out and attract the right kind of guests. And don't forget about lighting. Good lighting can totally transform a space and create different moods. Lastly, keep in mind that furnishing and decor isn't a one-time deal. Over time, things might wear out or go out of style, so it's a good idea to set aside a maintenance budget as well. Operation expenses are these ongoing costs that keep your Airbnb properties running like well-oiled machines. These are the things you need to budget for beyond the initial purchase price. And let's be real, my friends, running a successful Airbnb empire involves more than just collecting rental income. Now, when it comes to operation expenses, you've got a few key players in the game. First up, we've got the good old property management fees. These are the costs associated with hiring a property management company to handle the nitty-gritty details, from guest communication and check-ins to cleaning and maintenance. On average, you might be looking at around 20 to 30% of your rental income for property management, unless you decide to do it yourself. And yeah, it's a slice of the pie, but think about the time and headache it saves you. Next, let's talk utilities. You've got electricity, water, heating, all those things that keep your place cozy and functional. Now, these can vary greatly depending on your location and the property size, but a ballpark estimate could be around 100 to 200 per month per property. You got to keep the lights on, right? And we can't forget about that all-important cleaning and maintenance budget. Think about wear and tear, occasional mishaps and routine upkeep. It's wise to set aside a healthy chunk, maybe around 1,000 to 2,000 per year per property to keep things spick and span. Now here's a surprise guest, property taxes. Yep, just like owning any property, you'll need to pay your dues to the local tax authorities. Again, this can vary greatly depending on where your properties are located, but let's just say you might need to set aside about 1 to 2% of your property's value per year. And last but not least, let's talk insurance. You'll want to safeguard your investment with proper insurance coverage. This could cost you roughly 500 to 1,000 per year per property depending on your policy. Still watching? This must mean you'd like my other videos. Make sure you subscribe to get more videos like this right now. When I talk about marketing and listings, I'm talking about getting your properties noticed in the vast sea of Airbnb listings. After all, you could have the most amazing properties, but if they are not getting eyeballs, well, that's like throwing a party and no one showing up, right? First things first, let's talk about market research. It's like knowing your competition before entering the race. Spend some quality time digging into your local Airbnb scene. Check out what similar properties are charging, what their listings look like, and what kind of amenities they offer. This gives you a solid foundation for pricing your own properties competitively. Now, when it comes to listing your properties, think of it as creating an online dating profile. You want to put your best foot forward. High quality photos are a must. I'm talking about clear, well lit and innovating snapshots that showcase the unique charm of your properties. If you're not a pro with a camera, consider hiring a photographer. You might be looking at around 200 to 300 for a top-notch photo shoot. And speaking of listing, don't skimp on the description. This is your chance to woo potential guests with your words. Highlight the key features of your property, emphasize what makes it special, and be sure to include all the essential details, from the number of bedrooms to the proximity of hotspots. Now, let's talk about a little marketing magic, getting those 5-star reviews. Positive reviews are like gold in the Airbnb world, so go the extra mile to ensure your guests have a fantastic experience. This could mean providing thoughtful touches, impeccable cleanliness, and top-notch communication. And hey, a small welcome gift never hurt. Last but not least, let's talk about Airbnb service fees. When you list your property on Airbnb, they take a cut of each booking. This can vary, but on average, you might be looking at around 3 to 5% of your booking subtotal. And let's not forget the contingency planning. Contingency planning is all about being prepared for the unexpected curveballs that life might throw your way. And believe me, in the world of real estate and Airbnb hosting, curveballs are more common than you'd think. First things first, let's talk about repair and maintenance emergencies. You know, the water heater that decides to take a vacation, or the roof that suddenly springs a leak. It's a good idea to set aside about 5 to 10% of your monthly rental income for a repair fund. So if you're pulling in around $1,500 a month, consider stashing away $75 to $150. This way, when those surprise repairs come knocking, you won't be caught off guard. Next up, vacancies. Yep, even the most sought after Airbnb properties can have periods of vacancy. Maybe it's the slow season, or perhaps there's a sudden lull in travel due to unforeseen events. Sounds familiar? So, having a vacancy fund is essential. Aim for about 10 to 15% of your annual rental income. If you're making around 18 grand a year, that's 1,800 to 2,700 set aside for those times when your property is temporarily unbooked. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, mortgage payments. It's always a good idea to have a buffer in case of unexpected changes in interest rates or economic downturns. Setting aside 5% of your annual mortgage payments can provide an extra layer of financial security. And last but not least, let's talk about regulatory changes. Laws and regulations can shift, and that might impact on your Airbnb operation. It's wise to allocate a small portion of your income, say 2%, for potential legal or regulatory challenges. So there you have it, the lowdown on contingency planning for your buy-to-let Airbnb portfolio. Remember, life loves throwing surprises our way, and being prepared can save you from a lot of headaches down the road. Having these funds set aside means you can weather the storms and keep your Airbnb empire going strong. So to sum it all up, building your dream buy-to-let Airbnb portfolio takes some serious planning and a bit of financial firepower. Considering property costs, furnishing, operation expenses, market and listing efforts, and those also important contingency funds, you might be looking at an estimated total of, well, you can add up all the estimates I've given so far. And remember, the prices depend on your goals and locations. Remember, every penny you invest now is a step closer to turning those properties into profit-making havens. Happy hosting, and see you on the next video.